Powerful Nerdcast assembles!
Stay dandy, baby.
A new threat emerges, so Boruto and his friends are about to enter a brand new training arc. This was a so-so chapter of Boruto for me. I only say that because it was kind of stock, kind of standard. I think this chapter is going to be loved by people who truly love these characters, and there's completely nothing wrong with that. It's a monthly manga series. I was just kind of hoping there would be a little bit more outside of the fact that we see Team 7 training with Kawaki, and there were certainly some pretty good moments here which are developing the characters, but it really didn't excite me all that much, and it was kind of underwhelming, especially after getting the big introduction of all of the new characters in the last couple of chapters, the fact that Code has effectively transformed into the brand new villain. Then we have the character of Ida, the woman who can see and hear everything, which makes me think that, well, she knows everything that's going on now with all the training that's going on with Boruto and his team, so it's going to be very hard for them to be very secretive about what it is that they're actually going to do. But really, that's what this entire chapter was all about, which again was mostly just Kawaki going back to his edgelord self, where he just doesn't want to go along with the rules of everyone. Now that he no longer has the karma, he's going to have to rely on trying to train to actually be a ninja, and it seems like we've basically gone back to square one in some senses. That's what it kind of feels like in this chapter, although I have to admit, getting to see more of Kawaki interacting with Team 7 is actually kind of interesting, as believe it or not, we actually haven't gotten a lot of that. I mean, yeah, there's been a lot of interaction between him and Boruto, but when it comes to the characters like Sarada and Mitsuki, this is like the most interaction I think that they've had thus far in the entire series, outside of a few other smaller moments. In particular, I really loved watching Mitsuki going up against Kawaki in this chapter, utilizing his snake abilities to stop his giant monster arms. I thought that that was really cool, and seeing Kawaki actually acknowledge his strength was also pretty freaking interesting, as I still believe that Mitsuki is one of the more interesting new characters in the Boruto series. He's definitely been one of my favorites, and I really would like to see him utilized just a little bit more, if only for the fact that he is just the son of Orochimaru and he's interesting, and he hasn't really reached that full potential, I believe, of what he's truly going to be capable of. Mark my words, he's a character that you definitely want to look out for. But Sarada's interactions with Kawaki were honestly just as interesting as well. The dynamic between these characters too, because Sarada's always had to put up with Boruto's crap for the fact that he's been kind of apathetic about either training or interacting with his father, and now she's met her brand new match in the form of Kawaki, who is just basically fighting her at every possible turn. And again, watching the friction between these characters I think is kind of interesting, especially because while Kawaki can be kind of, for a lack of a better word, kind of a dick, he is a man of his word, basically saying that he's going to throw down with these characters, and if they can manage to actually defeat him and take him down, he'll go along with whatever training method it is going to be for them. And he does live up to that by the end of the chapter, which I thought was actually kind of cool. Really, this was more of a straight development chapter between the members of Team 7 and getting to see how far they've come and how far they've grown. And in that sense, I think it worked. I also really loved the scene at the beginning. It was a scene that totally reminded me that Kishimoto is, again, definitely working on the series, as it carries a lot of his, you know, sensibilities and style in terms of storytelling, especially the moment with Naruto confronting his son and telling him about this medicine which is going to slow down the whole process of Momoshiki taking over his body, and telling him that, look, you got to be real careful with this stuff, we don't quite know what it's going to do, it could potentially harm you, and then boom, Boruto just decides to throw the medicine back, completely freaking out Naruto, who has the best expression on his face, probably the most he's emoted throughout the entire Boruto series thus far, and I just thought that that was a really great moment. Of course, being upset with Boruto because he just jumped headlong into all of this, but Boruto at least reassures him that this is something that he's thought of. He's thought of the ramifications and the things that could potentially happen to him, and how he could also somehow be a threat to Konoha Village at some point in the future. He's weighed his options and he's decided to make this decision, but most of it, of course, was played for laughs just to see Naruto shit his pants, and I think that alone might be my favorite part of the entire chapter. That may be the color page that we got at the beginning of this chapter, getting to show off all of the major players who are going to be taking part in the current arc of the series, and ultimately I just can't wait to see where it's going to go from here. But I really can't wait to see more of this training that Kawaki is going to do, to learn how he's going to be a proper ninja, maybe learn some brand new abilities, and of course it begs the old question again, how is he going to get his karma back? We know eventually he is going to get it because of the scene at the very beginning of the Boruto manga and anime series, so we know that eventually he will get his abilities. I just don't know how that's going to happen. You also get to see in this chapter of how much he heavily relied on karma when he was battling against Boruto, instinctively putting his hand out so that he could absorb all of his techniques, but of course, it just didn't really work for him at all. He realized that he has a glaring weakness in not being able to utilize the karma anymore, and I think that's where all of this training is going to get really interesting. So, what's the rundown on this chapter of Boruto Naruto Next Generations? I thought it was okay. Like I said, I wasn't completely blown away by this chapter, and again, it's because it's pretty much just more of the standard like training that we've seen from the series so many times before. It is interesting to see these characters interact, and I think that's what sort of saved this chapter for me, but not the most exciting stuff, especially at the introduction of Ida in the last chapter, who's one of the more interesting characters that I've seen from the entire franchise. So to go from that big reveal to what is basically just a very standard kind of training thing and knowing I have to wait another month is kind of disappointing. The good thing is I like these characters, I like the growth, and I like the development they're getting, so that's what sort of gave me a lot of enjoyment from this chapter overall. Still, it wasn't perfect in my opinion, but still I thought it was really solid, and you can definitely start to see a lot of Kishimoto's sensibilities and style of writing actually start to be a little more prevalent currently. I think right now it's starting to give that sort of like classic Naruto feeling, which I think is actually kind of cool. Artwork-wise, pretty much the same from the rest of the series. It continues to look pretty solid across the board. The characters look distinctive and interesting, and they're starting to sort of like ride that line between their old school manga designs and kind of the way that they look in the anime version, and I'm kind of okay with that. I do like how they make all of that look. But otherwise, the training has officially begun. Cue the montage music, it's going down. But you heard my thoughts about the chapter. I liked it. I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5, even though it seemed like I didn't really enjoy this one all that much. I like these characters, and I like the growth that they're getting. But your thoughts may differ. You might have liked this chapter even more. Make sure to sound off in the comment section below and tell me what you thought about the latest chapter of Boruto Naruto Next Generations. Do you think we're getting even closer to that time skip? What sort of abilities is Kawaki going to learn? Is he going to have to heavily try and learn to get that karma back in order to succeed? Or is he going to unlock some other really cool hidden ninja ability? Make sure, sound off, comment section below. Let's talk all about it. Thank you guys so much for watching this review. Please subscribe to the channel for more videos just like this one. If you did like this video, please, I implore you, give it a thumbs up. It helps out these videos a lot and ensures more people can see my content. I'd also like to take this time to thank all of my patrons. You guys are pretty freaking incredible. Going that extra mile and making those monthly donations, I cannot thank you enough for that. First-time donators, I'll review an anime series of your choosing, so make sure to do that. And I'd also love to add your name to this list of amazing people that you currently see on screen, the producers of Ace Guru. So thank you guys so much for watching this review. I'll see you all next time, and as always, stay down there, baby.